It's time we give back. So we'll see and show someone where love's at. Even if you don't give a dime, give your heart and share your time. Help somebody else in life. Give back. Let's give back. Don't forget.
Welcome to another episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform, a show where we showcase urban superheroes. Today's show is an amazingly special show. We get a chance to showcase one of our very own, our brother, my brother, Larry Starke. What's up, baby?
Everything is great. Everything is great, brother.
Good. Good to have you, man.
Thank you, man. This is a little different, me sitting on this side.
Oh, mad different, man. Mad different. Oh, you know, heat up in here. This is nothing but love, man. Larry, give us your history, brother.
Wow, history. Okay. Grew up in the Bronx. Was born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx. Oldest of 5, have 3 younger sisters and a brother who passed away several years back. I'm a father of 5, grandfather of 3. I've done some world traveling. I'm very passionate about myself, my people, my family, and what goes on in this world. I'm trying to do my part to stand up and be counted each step of the way. My childhood in the Bronx was a lot like most of us, born in '65, and we were just trying to turn that corner, with the civil rights movement and all. We were trying to get that equality. So I didn't feel it because I was a baby at the time, but as I look back and I say, wow, that was just a little over 50 years ago. So that made me say, stand up and do something. So, but coming back, in the Bronx, we played in the street and, football and stickball. And I had what I thought was a very good childhood in terms of the community. It was very tight knit. I was recently at a funeral and saw some of the elders who watched me grow. And
Tell me about some of those elders.
Sure. I'll talk about the one who recently passed away, Mr. Dwight. He was a guy who I just found out was a decorated lieutenant corporal, I believe, in the Marines. Something I never knew about him. He was a tough guy, very tough guy. He made sure that the boys in the neighborhood knew what it was to be a man. He taught us early on, there's not a soul in that neighborhood. And when I say neighborhood, I'm talking the Watson Avenue area. Shouts out to Watson Avenue.
Soundview,
Watson, all that, yeah. When we were growing up, there was a lot going on, a lot of negativity, but Dwight was the kind of guy where he rallied around us. We didn't have to look for him, he looked for us. And if there were things going wrong, he dealt with it for us. Even our fathers didn't have to. He was just that kind of guy and had that kind of respect. He taught us all how to box. That was his big thing. He set up boxing rings. He said, you need to know how to defend yourself. Not go fight, but defend yourself. So, he was very special. There was, my dad, my dad, very quiet guy, very soft-spoken, not into any sort of drama at all. But the kind of guy that if you bent his ear a little bit, you'd find so much wisdom pouring out of him. And I was fortunate. I learned early on to listen and hear what he was saying. And he's passed along as well. And actually, February 13th marked 10 years since his passing. And even today, a lot of lessons that he taught me, I use, and it's good for me when my sisters remind me, and they say, Daddy used to do that, or Daddy was that way. And it lets me know that he wasn't a man of great wealth at all. I mean, we were the poor kids in the neighborhood, but he never let us feel it. He never let us think it. We did feel it, we did think it, but he always encouraged us to say, this is temporary.
Okay.
And this is my life, not yours. That was a big thing for me.
So where'd you go to high school?
Stevenson High School, Adlai Stevenson.
Okay.
Which is now a multi-school building now.
Right.
It's not the same old Stevenson.
So you went to Stevenson, graduated, and then you attended where we met.
Where we met, CW Post.
CW Post.
Yes.
And so you're back. in the field that you studied at CW.
Amazingly. Yeah, broadcast communications major. Everyone wonders, why didn't you do it from the start? Well,
God knew what He was doing, because
Yes.
we need this type of dialogue and these types of shows where
Right.
people hear the truth. Because part of, we could talk getting to your show, but it's important in this time for people to hear a different type of voice.
I think so.
And so I believe this is divine, divine intervention in terms of the timing of this. For you
I
to
agree.
bring forth your show and the things that we're doing, it's happening when it's supposed to happen.
I definitely agree. And you kind of said that to me over a year ago when we got to this point of doing this, and I didn't really hear it. I held it, but I didn't really hear it. But then as I've gone on through time, through these last year and some change, I realized I was growing my voice. I was finding my voice. I was learning how to use my voice, and I've learned at Post. I learned to be a little more aggressive in terms of presenting what I thought was right. But I still didn't know how to do it. I was aggressive sometime in a negative way.
I remember.
And I had guys like you, guys like Stan Dennis, our seniors then like Mr. William Clyde
Right.
and Mr. James Boatwright.
Right.
And one guy that also held me in check, I don't know where he is these days, but Gary Anderson, you remember Gary? So I had you guys kind of set me up to be a success.
Okay. So we're going to get more into your story, but we're going to take a brief commercial break and we'll be back.
Okay.
I see you mobbing over her. Let's go. Let's mob. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, we mobbing. Come on, girl. Let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom. Hey, let's crawl. Hey, yo, let's crawl. Boom.
What if you could invest in the future? The future of kids, like a stock. Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow. My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
Welcome back. We're going to continue on with the story of Mr. Larry V. Starke Jr. Larry, just tell us some of your philanthropic endeavors, things that you're doing now, how you're impacting young people. I know you have speaking engagements. I know you're involved with our program, and I know you're doing different things with your church.
Right.
You can touch on some of those things.
Well, I credit you for getting me involved. That fateful day we were at the homecoming, the very first for me, several years ago, and you just said, hey, you need to come check me out, and I have this mentorship program, and I think you'd be valuable here. And I did. I took you up on it, and I think I was pretty active for about a year, and I know just things with my girls and all the conflict in schedules, but that set the tone for me. Watching those little boys and how they responded to men that they didn't know, but trying to educate them, and how where I've heard so many times they don't get it, but I actually saw it in action. That's what made me turn the corner. So I kind of took that and went with it from there. I did get involved with my church. I haven't done
What church is that?
St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Harlem. St. Matthew's Baptist Church of Harlem, where we are led by Pastor Lisa D. Jenkins.
That's right. That's my friend.
She's a good sister. Pastor Jenkins and I, we have a relationship that goes back over 20 years. We actually worked together before any of this ever happened. So we have a little history. But she's tried to get me involved with the church in terms of the youth and all. But not that that's a small thing. It's like I'm just always looking for something a little bigger, and I think I'm kind of selfish. I want my own. I want to be able to do what I want to do, which is where the Stark Naked Truth, which is the other show that I do, came into play.
So let's talk about that. Okay. I know that's That's a show that's about to be launched on BronxNet and in Brooklyn.
And in Brooklyn, yep.
So tell us about that.
So it came out of, didn't really come out of the air, I would say. Well, I've gone through a series of things in my life, whether it was divorce, whether it was some depression, some financial issues, just death, dealing with all these different things. And I just think men, we hold that stuff. We don't talk about it. We don't give anyone any indication, or we try not to, that things are wrong with us. And what I found with me as I bottled it up, I got sicker, physically and mentally. I got sicker. I wasn't the same guy I am now. Like, I love life. I love being happy. I love entertaining. I love making people laugh and laughing. I love all that. But for many years, I couldn't do it. And this really started with the death of my brother when I was 16. I held all of that for a while. There was some outbursts, but I held it. And I never shared with people like I probably should have. So fast forward, I realized once you got me back into the whole communications thing, hey, I can create something. That's the stark naked truth. Men can come and sit down and we can talk. I can share my experiences. I'm not an expert, but I've had so many different experiences that I can say, hey, this is some of the things I did that I learned from others after the fact. And there'll be other men that I'll have come on who are specialists in these fields. I mean, you're school counselor. There may be men who are trying to deal with their children, maybe even stepchildren, because that's usually a big deal.
Or grandchildren.
Or grandchildren, because their children have left them with them. That's something you might be able to help.
Or kids
them
on
with.
the block, man.
All of those kind of things, you know. So I figured let's put together a resource, and that's where that came from.
So the Stark Naked Truth is going to happen when is our
launch?
viewers going to be able to see your show?
Well, right now I have a couple of pilots on YouTube, and you can just do the Stark Naked Truth search, and that's STARKE. You'll be able to find me that way. We have 3 shows that have just been edited and are ready for release. Now it's just a matter of finding when we're going to be able to get them on the television schedule. I will be putting them on the YouTube channel as well, because not everyone gets these broadcast channels.
Right.
I have to give credit to my producer and co-creator, which is the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, the Movement TV. Catherine has been.
We know her very
awesome.
well.
Yeah, she's been an inspiration. She has several shows and productions that she's doing herself, and hopefully, we can really get some things going.
Okay, man. So I'm gonna flip this on you. We always ask this question, and we consider you an urban superhero, no question. You are. We consider you a major part of this production. What are your superpowers? What do you consider your strengths in terms of superpowers?
It's easy when I ask someone else that question. I think one of my biggest superpowers, if you will, is to be able to express passion to people. I'm able to absorb the things they want to do, the things they're about, and kind of just help them through it. Just, with passion, with sensitivity, just be a listening ear, a broad shoulder, sometimes an advisor, but just to be able to passionately absorb what people feel and take on some of that stuff to ease their pains. I never had, shouldn't say I never had that. I never identified that was available to me, but I want to make it available and visible for anyone that I come in contact with.
Okay. Okay. Professionally, what are you doing? What is your career? What are you doing professionally?
So professionally, I work for.
So now I know this is your love.
Yeah.
But this is not paying the bills yet.
No,
so
I get you.
Let me make sure. Let me make sure you understand what I'm saying.
I got you. So
someday.
That's what we're pushing for.
Right.
I work for a major hospital in the state. I don't know the legal ramifications.
You don't have
so
to
I
mention
won't
exactly
names.
what the
But my role is as an optimization specialist, and what I do is I deal with the electronic medical record system. We've all gone to computers. You go to your doctor, he or she is talking to a computer these days. So it's been it was initially my job to go out and help with the implementation and training and support of it. Recognizing that these people are kind of left in the dark after a while, there was another department created, and I was pulled from management to help create this brand new department called the optimization team. Okay. And now we go out and we deal with the real seasoned users of the application. And not only do we kind of correct some of the things that they're doing wrong, or they've gotten used to doing habitual stuff that just doesn't help the workflow, we also optimize them. We say, here is what you're doing. I can show you how to do this in less time and more effectively. It's become one of the major support systems for the hospital. We've been recognized by many departments, from the top all the way down.
How'd you get into that, man?
It's the strangest thing. I got to CW Post. I wanted to be a computer science major. I had my very first computer class, and it was DOS based, so that dates me. Then I had my first math class, which was a calculus class. I sat in there for three or four sessions and said, this is not for me. Computers were out of my mind at that point, and I went to broadcasting because I realized I liked it. Fast forward, graduation, looked for a job in communications, broadcast communications. Coming from the Bronx, and financial situation didn't allow me to just sit on my tail. The money they offered, I said no. I can make that at a part-time job. I went to a temp agency, was told do that to find your way, got a job, met a gentleman, Andy Spivak. He'll probably be shocked that I still call his name. Andy Spivak may have been 2 years older than me, but he was doing some good things. He said, hey, do you know how to use this computer program? I said, yeah, had no idea. He said, I'm going to lunch. When I come back, can you show me some stuff? I didn't go to lunch, I stayed. I messed around with it for that hour. He came back, he said, so what can you show me? I think I learned 2 or 3 things. They impressed him, and he said, you're pretty good with this. And from that point on, the bug hit me, and every time I saw a new application, I just dug in.
Wow.
I learned how not to hit delete and not to just turn the power off, otherwise I lose everything. And I'm kind of self-taught.
That took some courage, man, to take the initiative to venture out into an area that you really wasn't familiar with, but self-preservation kind of kicked in.
And life does that to you. I knew that I had to make something out of nothing. I really did. And again, didn't identify those things when I was younger. But as I got older, I'm like, wow, you really did do some stuff that are beyond you. At least I thought they were. Yeah.
So you've lived in a few places. I know you were down in Atlanta at one time. I know you were living in the Bronx at one time. Yeah. But now you're doing that Harlem thing,
doing
man.
the Harlem thing, yeah.
So how are you enjoying that experience?
I enjoy it. It's a great experience. It has been. It's been a little over 4 years now. It's very different from the Bronx. It's given me an opportunity to kind of spread my wings a little bit too, because there's a lot of cultural things that go on. And there are a lot of people that look like me that are really trying to push the culture forward and push our people forward. And I don't think I always had that around me. So, I try to take advantage of it.
Okay, man, we're gonna have one more segment to hear more about different things.
Okay.
And we can talk a little bit about world politics for
Let's do it.
I know you you dig that. So
absolutely.
We'll get into that, but we'll be right back.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic.
Maybe it could be an outdoor cat that lives in our neighbor's yard, 3 doors down.
Mom.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back. We're here with Larry Starke. Larry, man, this is an exciting time in America. This weekend, the Black Panther movie has hit the screens, and there's all kinds of excitement and energy and positive talk about a black king. And we know how our young people need role models.
Right.
And how we need to kind of compensate for so much in terms of the torment and the challenges that we've had to deal in this country. But I'm hearing some negative feedback, fallout from some of the criticism about the movie. Have you had a chance to see it yet?
I have not had a chance to see it. My plan is to try and see it today, if at all possible. My schedule hadn't allowed, but I'm anxious. I'm very anxious.
So to that end, we know our community needs so much, right? You talked about the stark naked truth. From your vantage point, given all the things that we're dealing with right now, what are some of the steps that we need to take to help to eradicate some of the challenges that we're facing in America today, particularly from a black male perspective?
And that's the perspective I want to talk from, because that's what I know best. Responsibility. We really, as black men, we have to take ownership and responsibility.
Amen.
You know, we tend to blame everyone, from, you know, going back in history to, you know, white men to our women. And we have no justification for that now. I think if we would step back and say, I am powerful, I am strong, I am intelligent, and I can do, and then build that circle around us, get that unit around us, we can do. Someone wrote something on Facebook that said, looking at the Black Panther movie shows what black people could have done had they not been enslaved by white men. I was floored. Because to me, what that movie is saying, it shows us what black people can do.
Oh,
period.
not can do, what we will do. That's just a preview, brother.
And that's fine.
That's a preview.
And that's fine.
It's not what we can. It's what we're gonna do, brother. Because it's allowing people. It's a fantasy. It's not real in the sense, but it's fantasy. But fantasy can create a sense of thinking outside the box.
Well, we see that every day in the White House. There was a fantasy that about this guy getting into the White House, but it came to
Lord
fruition.
have mercy. You right about that.
Exactly, but we'll hold that one for a minute.
Yeah, let's please do.
But I'm saying the same thing you're saying. You can do it. It can be done. You just have to say to yourself, let's do it. It's that commercial, you know, just do it. That advertisement. You have to just stand up and do it. And that's why I say I'm making myself available to men and women and children who say, you know, I got an idea. I have something I want to do. How can we do it? I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying to make the connections so these things can be answered. You know?
Okay, man. Tell us a little bit more about the timetable when you expect your show, because now at some point we're going to be connected with you as well.
Exactly.
So I know that you have the relationship with our. She was on our 10th show, and she's a very fine producer. But we're going to form a partnership, I guess, to bring some of the resources here that we have, and hopefully expand it, because the goal with your show and what we're doing, and we're about to launch a show with Rebecca, and Rachel's got one coming down the pipe. Our goal is to impact the world.
Right.
So
So I think so with the Kitty Rose lifestyle and the Movement TV, you know, this sister has taken the time to build her own. I had this idea. She read my mind. We talked about it. We started doing it. I know that with all that she's doing, she wants me to have the opportunity to get the time that I need, and she may not be able to do it all. So she's gracious enough to say, let's work with. We have the relationship here. Let's work with, and let's try and transition it over, which is good, which is great, actually. So, you know, speaking on timetable, again, there are 3 shows that have already, and she just finished editing them up, I think yesterday, and she actually texted me to tell me, ask me why didn't I look at them yet. But we have 3 shows already ready to go on air.
So I'm trying to make sure that our audience has a real sense of, because we're going to promote this, and we want to make sure that our supporters understand when this is going to come about, because I think it's, from what I'm hearing, I know it's going to be a valuable contribution to the media world. We certainly need that platform where men can have an opportunity to kind of vibe with each other, and get a sense as to, I'm not in this by myself. I'm not the only one going through this. I can share my story. I can share my experience. I can hear someone else's experience and learn from that. But everything is now, because we're in an urgent situation.
Yes.
And we need to We need to bring this to the maximum level.
Well, it's coming. I mean, it's coming. I've been working on it for some time now, trying to put out the best product that I can, and it's here. If I had to guess a time frame, I'd say it could be in the next couple of weeks. It's just a matter of finding a time slot. That's what we need to do.
So we're looking at sometime in March, probably.
I would say the latest.
Sometime
I would
in
say the
March.
latest. But
Okay.
a good way to keep up is to visit me on my Instagram page.
And that is?
It's the Stark Naked Truth. Stark, S-T-A-R-K-E. The Stark Naked Truth, one word. Everyone knows how to use Instagram. You can follow me on there. I'll be posting and doing updates, doing promos there. And also, again, on YouTube, if you type in the Stark Naked Truth, you'll find me there. I would ask everyone to subscribe to my page and hit that little alarm that lets you know when a new something has been added. If you do that, this way you'll be able to keep up with me and know exactly when the first real release is coming. I really would appreciate that.
We're all very excited about the new show that's coming forth, The Stark Naked Truth, and we can't wait to see it come out. Larry, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us this afternoon, and anything we can do to support you, we're behind you, and to the top, brother.
That's
to
what we
the
do.
top.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm your host, Hosea James Gavan II. Thank you for watching this episode of Ignite, Empower, Transform. See you soon.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.